Hello and welcome back to another gig log. This is Nate within the Mix Light and Sound. And today we are heading back to a place that we did a video at last year, the Reading Liederkranz. We're actually working with the same band that we worked last year, the Grateful Dead cover band, Good Lovin' Jam Band. So those guys are a lot of fun. Looking forward to this one. You know, it's funny doing these video logs. I think I heard another channel, the Sound Couple, saying at one point that they like having these vlogs out there because they can go back and look at a prior event and see what they did before, how they did their setup. And that's exactly what I did with this one. I looked at my video from last year to see how I set up, what lights I used, and all of that. So we're pretty much duplicating that process. We're going to use our Meyer X40s. It's a stage, but it's under a pavilion area. And then last year we just used one 828 subwoofer, JBL. So we're going to do that again this year. And then we have our lighting that's going to be similar. The main difference from last year is that instead of using the M32C for a mixing board, now we're going to be using our wing rack. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, what sound differences there were from last year. And again, just the wing rack makes the routing so much easier for these types of gigs, really for any type of gig, festivals and all of that. So with that, we're going to get in. We'll try and get more video than what we got last year, because hopefully we won't have the same challenge of them just pouring macadam and not being able to wheel things over the main load-in area. Last year we had to pull in the back and carry things over grass, so it should not be a challenge this year. But with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So stay tuned. All right, so here's our stage area and pavilion area. You can see we got some power along the stage that we'll tap into. Here's the dance floor and main coverage area. Then there's some seating in the back and around the sides. So we're going to get our trailer unloaded here and see what we can get done. All right, we got all our stuff unloaded. The band's gonna get here in about 45 minutes or start arriving. So I wanna try and get as much as the stage tidied up here as I possibly can. So with that, we'll go ahead and get up there and start running some stuff. This is where the majority of our power and things like that is. We are going to have to run and get a couple things out of the trailer, but we'll get that shortly. Let's climb up and get moving. I think we're going to have to make a different move here with the height of the speakers and the lights. So, you know, like they say with most good things, it's not done right till it's done twice. One there, one here. We'll go make a run then. and grab our other stands. These Showtime flex stands are super nice because they don't take up a huge giant footprint. All right, so we're gonna pause here for a second to get back out to the truck and grab a couple extra items here. All right, we got our stuff out of the trailer now. I think we're finally good here. So we're gonna swap these. Get our speakers on first. This guy. And then our speakers. Go. Get our stuff up on stage where we need it. This will be drum monitor. And we'll get the rest of our wedges out. And we're actually going to use this as a table for our front of house. All right. Monitors are out. Put all of our stuff, so-called dead cases, in here. So we're gonna have to jump up on stage here and use our drone drop. This guy is not being used today. We're gonna pull out our electric. We have hat. Technically, we're only running 4 monitor sends, but we're using a total of 6 wedges. And I'll explain that in a little bit. Alright, you can go in here. What else do we need up top? That should be it for now. So let's go ahead and jump up on the stage. So a little entrance. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to grab electric. Looks like this all comes from one circuit. Looks like that one over there is a separate circuit. So what we'll do is grab stage power and mains from these. And we'll grab monitors and the other stuff from there. So that means is we need some quad boxes. So we jumped up on the stage too soon. So I'm gonna pull out all 3, and then we'll see where we need them. Get this guy untangled first. So this is a leftover from a festival when we were packing up in the rain. So a lot of times in those cases, yeah, things don't necessarily get packed up exactly the way you would hope. Alright, these are GFI, so we're good there. And then we'll grab one of these. Let's grab one with a longer tail. This one. Out of there. Now for this, it looks like that's not a GFI, so if there's one down the line or up the line, we'll see. But for now, what we'll do is we'll use the GFI built into our box for the downstage stringer here. So we're just going to plug right into GFI. We know we have power. I've already metered these, by the way, so I know I got 120 for all of it. Put Hazer down here. And start laying out our wedges. I'm gonna take the 12s, put them on the ends. Let's get some of our stuff out of the way here. Let's take care of lights. You've seen these lights before. These are just old Chinese lights that I bought years ago when I first started getting into lighting. So, just generic brand stuff. And we'll get the MX for that later. But here's our power. Dead case. And our second tree of lights. Got our power cord. All right. Now, for our front washes, okay, good, that moves. A little bit of wind happening. This happened last year too. I remember there would be some breezes that would kick up and take out all my haze. Now we can put these guys on. These are color keys. They are battery powered, which is cool. But for here, we're gonna just run them off of power because it seems like the battery life isn't always the best. It could probably make it through this event, but better to be safe than sorry, right? And put them us. I'd like to use those. What I thought I'd be able to get away with is the stands that their name's escaping me right now because it's hot and I can't think, but they do a loop so you can put lights on the same stand. But again, do the height, you know, maybe we could have. But this works as well. All right, so our color keys are on. The lights, that means we can get rid of these cases now. And we've got, what, about 20 minutes before the band shows up. So we're gonna get monitors set, get the stage stringer set. Well, since this never got tied, I guess we'll just use this. You know what? I don't like having big coils of wire. Take a minute and just tie this up. Sometimes, depending on the current you're drawing, if you have a coil of wire, it makes it heat up more. It can cause a fire, so I always like to have all of my stuff laid out as much as possible without any coils when it comes to power cables. So then what we'll do is we'll just grab one of these little guys and use that. They're all 12 gauge. Or maybe we won't. Looks like this does not want to fit into the outlet there. So these are things that are time wasters. Because now I've spent, what, 5 minutes on trying to plug something in. So what we're going to do instead is use what's in here and plug that in. And then we're just going to come out. So and another challenge. It's not 20 amps, so we have to grab one of our converters. Let's, for fun, see if this fits. It does. Excellent. All right, so that gives us an option here. Hopefully they won't mind us using this table. Matter of fact, what we may do is use this table for stage box. All right, perfect. So that helps out. under there. One monitor. Two. See how the keyboard player shakes out here. And three. Big thing is seeing if these 25 footers will reach where I want them to. So let's go. It's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for drums. Let's see if we can make it. All right, if he's good with that, I think what we'll do to get a little more sound, we'll keep the table up here, but we're gonna all right, so that one made it. If we have to, we have a 50 footer that we can go out and see. So we'll work backwards. This will be number 4. And let's see how far we can get to the keyboard wedge here. I'm thinking we're gonna have to get the 50 footer. Yep. So instead, what we may just do here is, because the 50 footer's out in the trailer is now essentially buried. So we're going to extend this out a little bit with a XLR cable and a power cord. So we have an extra extension cord here. Just your run-of-the-mill good old black extension cord. And then we're going to want some 10 footers here. I want a patch cable as well. Those are all our 10s. And patch. Show that later what that's for. So let's take one of our 10 footers. Let's take this and we'll come out there and we'll come out here. And we'll just extend this a little bit. Get rid of this. So let's see, how far can we extend? Honestly, I don't even really need the extension cord, but let's just do it anyway. You got that. this. And then we can feed on down the line. I said, I should have just grabbed the 50-footer, but I didn't. So now at least we should have enough slack to get to wherever the keyboard player wants to be. And what I'll do is I'll tuck this nicely against the lip of the stage here. We'll gather up all the slack. All right. Next up is going to be the two for the lead guitar player. And the way I did this last time is gave him 2 wedges. So one about here. One about here. We got about 15 minutes till the band shows up, and I'm sure a couple of those guys, probably the drummer, will be here early. All right, this will be monitor number 3. Now we'll grab an IEC and a patch cable, because we're not doing separate sends. Instead, what we're doing is daisy chaining these monitors together. And we're going to be using SEV7s, which are supercardioid, so that way we're not getting in the way of, and we're not going to have problems with like feedback and signal because of it being off to the sides like this. So go ahead and we'll grab out of here when we're ready. I don't want to turn them on yet because I don't have a mixer connected. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing down the line here. So one over here, one here, and same idea. We're gonna plug in and take our little patch cable here and daisy chain right out. All right, there's that, and then we have the one. So we got 1, 2, 3, fourth one here. This is monitor number 2. Get that plugged in. And now again, because we didn't grab our 50-footer, that left us.
When you get there, I know you got a while ago, but as soon as you have
Yep.
Some ambient background.
Sure. You got it. Yeah, absolutely. So like I was saying, we're one Siamese cable short. So this last guy, we're gonna do old school and just come right out. Go directly into the wedge. I'll be kicking myself at the end of the night when I gotta wrap some additional cables, but it beats having to run all the way out to the trailer. And there we go. So now we've got our spread as far as our wedges here. All right. Wedges are connected. Power. And 10 here, 10 here. And can we grab it? Yes. So what I want to do with this is grab the sub and grab the right side and just bring it down one cable instead of having two separate ones. So for this, hey Brian, how are you? All right, so we're set up here basically with the keys. He's going into mixer and we're catching that with our Whirlwind box. And he has two vocal mics, so we did a hardline one and the wireless. For the rest of the vocals, we have our SLX going across the front. We have guitar, mic'd back there. We have the drums and pad. We've got electric guitar and we've got bass DI'd in, all going through the Whirlwind drum drop there. And with that, everything's coming back to our DL32 that's racked up. And as you saw during the setup, you know, we have the monitors run. And then we've got our lights rigged up. We're using wireless DMX dongles into the side there. That's all coming from this little guy here. And then for the main mix, got Spotify playing right now. And here's our main rig. So we've got the SLX D, we've got our wing, our drawers for wireless, another DL32, which isn't being used this time, and distribution that's not being used. Now, one thing I've learned, and this is going to be a note for myself if I work here again, there are power blocks in the back here that are all tied in. Again, are all GFI and they're all their own separate circuits. So that's where we're going to grab from because we did have some issues with some of the power up on stage. So for next year, got to remember to do that. And turn on the user. All right, and we have our front of house set up again. So we have our FIT controller, controlling a computer that has mixing station on it. And then we're using our Wolf Mix controller for lighting, which is ArtNetting wirelessly up to the rack up there. So we're getting ready. We have about 15 minutes to showtime. right, and that's a wrap for tonight. So we are packed and on our way home, and we have another gig tomorrow. So didn't get any of the teardown, but it was a good night. Lots of compliments. Audience was happy. Organizers were happy. Glad I'm doing these gig logs, and hopefully I'll remember for next time I work in this venue that they do have that back panel with multiple outlets and circuits. And with that, we're going to go ahead and call it a night. Thank you again for watching. Please like and subscribe, and on to the next one. Thank you.